I'm standing down here, if that's okay with you guys. So.
This is, if you roll down, it'll go to the next one.
Gotcha. I just have to learn something new. As he said, it took me maybe 6-7 months of not doing anything on the internet, spending money, not succeeding at all, and then once it clicked, it took off. And it took me another 6 months after that to negotiate my contract out of my business, out of the career I was working at. And what's interesting is he said, I met John. I was at I'll make this short. I was literally at a networking event. I didn't know John at that point. I walked up, introduced myself in the bar. That's where all the big deals happen. Always, even if you don't drink. That's where everyone hangs out. It's casual. Defenses are down. People want to get to know each other. And so that's how I met John Reese. That's how I met Frank Kern. That's how I met a lot of the people. And when I was at John's event, Traffic Secrets, John had actually called me a Sunday night before the event and said, I could really use some information on traffic. And I just started, at that point, 3 or 4 months before getting into this stuff. And I said, sure. I put together a presentation for John, went to the event, sitting in the audience, and John was speaking, the sole speaker, for 3 days. And he came up to me at a break. He said, you know what? My back's killing me. My feet's killing me. I've been talking for a day and a half. Can you just get up and say what you're going to tell me to say, or what you told me to talk about? I said, okay. So I literally just stood up in the audience, spent 20, 30 minutes talking about traffic. And then I was completely underground. I was all about my family, still am. Didn't want to do anything but work a few hours a week and spend it with my kids because they're still young. My son is 7, my daughter's 5. So I met Yannick at John's event, and he bugged me for months and months and months until he finally talked me into actually getting up on stage. And that's how it all started. So he said, guru, I'm not a guru. I was fortunate enough to count those guys as friends to this day, but I don't speak for a living. I don't travel around. It's once or twice a year for friends, and that's it. So you might have seen me speak once or twice, but there are literally only 3 times, I think, that I've appeared anywhere on tape. So that's it. That's my story. I had a job. It took me about 6 months to get out of it. Once I realized it took me from when I made my first dollar to being able to quit my job, it was about 3 months. It did really well. Then it took me 6 months to negotiate my way out of my contract. So that's why I enjoy talking to people, because like I said, you guys are successful, but nobody wants to be shackled to a job. So he called me. He says, I know you're in Vegas. I want you to talk about social media. Can you take care of it? I said, well, it's great, but I don't have any presentations on it because I don't do this for a living. But I said, I'll put something together. So what I wanted to do is show you just one trick. It's very simple. Everyone can implement it. It's something we've been using for years. It still works to this day. I'll walk you through it. I'm going to give you every single tool that I use. I'm not holding anything back. Obviously, we only have a couple hours, so I can't show you the videos and the process maps I normally do if I'm teaching somebody something, but I'm not leaving anything out of the equation. I will show you how it all works. After the presentation's done, I have 30 or 40 slides. It could be 5 hours, but it can't be because I have to fly out. But I'll speak for an hour or two, and then we'll open up for questions. And I'll do the best that I can before I have to leave to answer the questions. Is that fair enough with everyone? Okay. We'll do it that way. Social media. Social media is online distribution channels. I always talk about it. You need to find a distribution channel for your product. Whether it's yourself or it's a physical product, you have to identify the distribution channels. Once you identify the distribution channels, you have to learn how to get your product through them. That's all social media is. It's a distribution channel for discovering related content with others. That's it. I'll slow down, folks. I'm sorry. I can start speaking fast. Social media is nothing more than technology that's used to help people interact. It's blogs, podcasts, videos, video blogs, wikis, user-generated content, photos, flickers, you name it. That's what social media is. There's nothing fancy about it. People say Web 2.0. Web 2.0 technology has been around as long as the web's been around. They give it a new name. Social media is just a distribution channel using different technologies like blogs, podcasts, and videos. And what you do is you try to get a group of people together, and you talk about it, and you share it with people, and that just facilitates the transfer of the information. That's why it's called social media, because it's just a little bit easier for us to share the information than it was before. But it's the same process as always. Social media websites, MySpace, YouTube, Facebook. Some people call them social networking. You want to build a network of people online? Same thing. Social networking, social media kind of go hand in hand. Flickr, iTunes, Dig, StumbleUpon. That's what I'm talking about. So does everyone understand what social media is? It's just a way to get your message out online. Okay, perfect. How can you use social media? Well, you treat it as a distribution channel to get your message out. You want to send your message out, but you want to make sure that everyone gets back into your sales funnel. Spent the better part of 10 years teaching people how to sell offline. Same thing applies online. If you put a video out there in the marketplace and people talk about how great it is, but there's nothing in that video that makes them take the action, such as joining your list or buy your product or visit your website, you've just wasted that video. You have to have something in the video that drives them back to your sales funnel. And it could be you just want people to visit your website. But you have to remember, when you're sending out messages, in every message that you send out, whether it's social media or anything else, there has to be something in there that brings them back to your sales funnel. Free offers, win something free, get some free content. I don't care what it is. I see the mistake all the time. And in fact, I will show you some screenshots where my guys still forget to do that when they release stuff once in a while. And I'll show it right to you. So when you're sending your message out to the channels, you're building your brand, you're trying to build your list, drive traffic. That's all there is to it. So just keep in mind, when you're tapping into social media, social networking, think, what is my end goal? Do I just like making videos all day for free and throwing them out on YouTube? Do I want to build my list? And if so, how are people going to find out about my list? And what incentive can I give them in the video to bring them back to my list so I can build my list to sell them my products? That's all there is to it, but people miss that fundamental point. So if you're throwing out a message, folks, just make sure that your message brings them to your action. Build your list, join my website, pay me some money. One of the pages we talked about for social networking is MySpace. This is an actual screenshot of one of, couldn't even tell you how many MySpace pages we have. I put this up as an example for my clients, and that's all we use it for. You can brand it. So this particular web page is branded for, what do you think it's branded for? What's the purpose of this page? Anybody? See that thing on top that says undergroundconfessions.com? It doesn't say MySpace. It doesn't say Jeff Johnson. We had a website called undergroundconfessions.com. So we put a banner on our MySpace page. This is undergroundconfessions.com. That's where I want them to go. So I'm advertising my undergroundconfessions.com on a MySpace page. And if you go to myspace.com/undergroundconfessions, you guys can see this later, you'll see the page. We've customized it. Everything says Underground Confessions, and the message is there a laser pointer on this? No, that's not the right one. Got it. Hold it for 5 seconds. Yeah, whatever. See this yellow box at the bottom? It talks about here, my name is Jeff Johnson. I'm the guy behind undergroundconfessions.com, the truth about free traffic. I've been featured speaker at high-tech events such as John Reese's Traffic Secrets, StomperNet, Frank Kern, Dale's 30 Days Challenge, you name it. I'm just telling them who I am. I'm trying to establish myself as an expert without being over-salesy. All I do is tell them who I am, what I've done in the past that is of interest to the people that I want to visit Underground Confessions. And then underneath there, you'll see undergroundconfessions.com again. And then in that yellow box, there's a listing, there's headlines. Those are actual links that you can click. So if you go to MySpace page, if you were on that page, the other page, those things in the yellow box, I'm glad it wasn't just me. No. They're clickable links. And what I did for those links is I had a blog at Underground Confessions. There we go. Those are clickable links down here. And those are headlines. It's the 79 social networking sites. If you click that link, it takes you to an article on my Underground Confessions site about 79 social networking sites. How you can get hundreds of incoming links for as little as $15. Product creation shortcuts. Make real money with membership sites. Well, what I did was I went to my blog.